Hello and welcome to Design Space Friday with Shirley Ross. And today I'm going to do a card. If you hear noises in the background, I am a March Madness fan, so there might be some basketball going on. And my little puppy decided to join me in here, and he, for some reason, is snoring. So if you hear that, I apologize. We're going to work on a card today. It's going to be a flip, a slice, and a write kind of card. And this is what it's going to look like when it's done with some writing on it. I actually cut this out and didn't want the writing, so I took it off. So you will see me put the writing on the one that we're going to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is just select all of this and group it so that I can move it out of the way. So you will see, and I am going to close that and take it down a little bit so that you can see more of the screen. All right, so what I'm going to do is start with, you know me, shapes. Free shapes are always my best friend. So we are going to start with a square. Let's toggle that off, and we are going to make it. This is going to be a top folding card. So this time we're going to do the width at 5.5, but we are going to make it 8.5 height. And then we are going to, as usual, put it at 1 and 1, and we are going to change the color to white so that you can see as I add things. All right, so for measurement purposes, I am going to go ahead and bring in the score line. And because the score line is vertical, we want to turn it horizontal. So we'll rotate it 90 degrees. And remember, we have 1 inch at the top. So we want this to be at 5.25 because our card is a 4.25 by 5.5 and 1. And of course, I did that backwards. And my X's and my Y's, I don't always get the first time. 5.25. And then we are going to make it 5.5. You don't have a height, you just have a width. So now we have the score line in, and we are going to bring in another square. And this time we're going to leave it as a square, and we're going to make it 2.25 inches. And we are going to rotate it 45 degrees. Because while we could have brought in a diamond, I actually want it to be the same width vertically as horizontally, so it works better with a square. And we are going to bring in one more, and then we'll untoggle that. Now this is going to be the mat, so we are going to make it, again, we're working with a 4.25 by 5.5. We want it to have 1/4 of an inch all the way around, so we will make this 5.25 and 4. All right, and we are going to change the color because we're going to use the same blue that I used before. And then we are going to duplicate it, and we are going to make the white piece just 1/4 inch smaller, so 5. Look it, and make it 3.75. Should that work? Out, yeah. And then we're going to make that one white again. We're going to leave this one gray. So now what I want to do is, because we're going to slice out, sorry, close that. Because we're going to slice out of the card as well as the 2 layers, what I want to do is we're going to work with the card as if it is, this is the front and that's the back. And then when we flip it, then we're going to work like we're on the inside. So you'll see that in a minute. So what I'm going to do first is to select both of the rectangles, and we are going to center them. All right, and then we are going to group it just for moving purposes. And I'm going to move it down here. So now I can go ahead and tell it that I want it to be at, and it's kind of going to be at an 8. So I'm going to put it 3.75, right? But I can align horizontally. So it aligned this piece horizontally between the sides, and then I aligned it with the positioning. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup because we're going to start doing some slicing, and we're going to do some slicing while it's all together. We're going to arrange this to the front, and you'll see what I mean in a second. We're going to put this here. Now, did you notice it changed and made it bigger because of the orientation? So we want to put it back down to the 2.25. so that it's smaller. And this one I'm just going to kind of eyeball because I wanted it down in the bottom right hand corner. So we're going to take that rectangle and we're going to hold, that triangle, and we're going to hold shift and grab the white triangle and we're going to slice it out. All right, now we're going to delete that, and now what we're going to do is grab this large piece and move it. We're not going to slide this anywhere because we want to go ahead and select it again and select the blue and slice. This way you know that your piece is going to stay exactly in the same place as the other parts. So then we will do this and select this and slice. Right, and then we can go ahead now and get rid of, we'll save that triangle because we might use it. Well, we're not going to need it. I did a second card and I did need it, but for this one we're not. So then we're going to arrange this to the back so that our score line comes up. Now we are not going to do anything with the score line yet because we're going to do one more thing. So we have these two pieces, and let's arrange this to the front. All right, so we have these two. And we can grab both of those. I know it's on, something's on top of it. We're going to line and center it again. And then you can see that it all stayed. And then we're going to group it because it's okay to keep it grouped now. We're going to bring it over here. Now I'm going to slide mine out of the way again. Now this is the front of the card. So when you're looking at it, this will fold down forward over the back. And this will be on the front like that. And then you'll stamp or cut something and put it in there. So then we're going to move it here because now what we want to do is actually work with the inside of the card. So what we're going to do is we are going to flip it vertically. Now think of this as the inside of the card with this folding down. You do not want to flip this because it's still going to go on the same way that it did before. This will still be the front and the other side of this will still be the front. Well, we want to write on the inside. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to bring in some text that's already done to show you and not to type something. So we're going to just type in happy birthday. Let's say we're making a birthday card. Right. And here's one right here. Let's see if that one is a purchased one. It's a free one. That's okay. So let's bring it in. It's already in writing mode. So you don't have to do the text and find one that writes. So now we want to find out where we want to put it and size it. And you can bring this over the top and you can see that that's going to end up in the center of it. So let's size it down a little bit. What I'd like to do is to size it small enough that, there we go, that it fits right next to it. That would look good. So we can take and move this out of the way. So now what we want to do is we want this to write onto our card base. So you have to attach. So you select this, hold the shift key and select that. And this time you're going to attach. All right. And then we're going to arrange it back. We probably could have gone ahead and attached the score line at the same time, but let's go ahead and attach the score line now. And I just selected the score line in that. So now this is going to write, and this is going to cut out, arrange it to the front. Right, and you can see when it's on there. That way you know when this is folded over, you're not going to see those words. So what's going to happen now when you put it in, and you go to cut it, it's going to tell you the steps and ask you to put in the score or put in the pin, and then it will cut it all out. But this way you can make a card, and if you wished, you could bring in, let's do birthday again, a little bit slow today. So let's do birthday cake. All right, and I'm just going to filter it to purchased. All right, so let us say just trying to find one I like that is not too, I'm going to close the filter so I can see all the way over. Let's see. I keep gravitating slightly towards those. let's just do the hat. I believe that's really close to my heart ones. It is. It's from Artistry. So, sorry, it's like that. You see it's in the queue. We'll insert the image. All right, so what you can do is bring this over here just so we can size this so it fits inside a little bit more. And you could actually cut this out, make it a little bit bigger. You could actually cut that out. We could even go one step further and we will do some text. And we'll just type in, oops, sorry, put too fast there. Okay. And let us do it in 2 lines. All right. I'm going to bring it up here. And there you are. You could do that. You could even go so far as to let's ungroup this because we can't slice when it's grouped. All right. We want our text. Arrange it to the front. So let's say we wanted to take this. Now you see my mind when it's working. And let's slice that out. And then you could take out and take out. And then you could have the happy birthday showing out. So there's a whole lot of different things that you could do. And I would actually want this to be, let's do it in a dark blue. And let's make that the dark blue. Let's make that the gray go with it. Oh yeah, I like the gray. So you could even do this. And this is kind of how you're seeing me, the way I work. So you could actually do that and not have that cut out, but just have the happy birthday in the gray on top. Just remember, you will have to, I didn't weld them. So you would have each individual letter, but you could come up with one that's welded. So that's kind of how my brain works when it designs. I just play with a lot of things because remember, undo is your friend. And you just have to undo what you don't like. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you next week. Bye.